Hello and everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Clover and I'm your new resident Kelpie. Now, I know what you must be thinking. Clover, aren't Kelpies human-eating water demons? And yes, we are. Great job knowing your mythological creatures. Lucky for you guys, I already ate breakfast, so instead of turning you into some sort of kebabs, we'll be starting our journey with Korean. I own all of Rosetta Stone's languages. I have access to all of them. And Korean has been a passion of mine for years, ever since I discovered Super Junior back in 2015. I just happen to not be one of those people who has any real luck with it, but I keep coming back because the language speaks to me so deeply. Now, we're not just going to be going through it all willy-nilly. I'm not going to just have it be, like, boring, just skip through. I'm going to pause, I'm going to explain my thought process. This doesn't seem... I already knew Hangul, the alphabet, or the written language before I started on Rosetta Stone, so it doesn't seem that Rosetta Stone really teaches you the alphabet in that you learn the alphabet first and then you start. It kind of introduces it along the way, which is not a bad thing. It just makes it a little easier to already know the alphabet, but there's a lot of different sources that you can use for that, and learning the basics of Hangul is super easy. It took me literally one day, and like not even a full day. So it's gonna be a good time. I plan to do one lesson per video, but I wanted to warn everybody, I don't have any sort of editing ability. I don't plan to edit anything, so you're gonna have noises in the background. I have two cats who love to cause trouble, who love to come bother me, and then I also have a husband who likes to yell at said cats who bother me. So you're probably going to hear some stuff, but that's just life, and I don't really feel like messing with it too awful much. I do have some music going in the background just to make, because obviously there's nothing going on other than the language portion, so I wanted to give us a little something in the background. Please let me know in the comments what you thought, your interest in the language, anything I should change. So, we're gonna get started. I will probably have to mess with volumes as we go. But again, I don't edit, so that'll be in real time. And the scene will dull as I move away from it to mess with audio, anything, just so everybody knows. So I have gotten through 2 weeks of the Korean on Rosetta Stone. But, so obviously we're starting at the very beginning, which I actually really like because it shows me how far my knowledge has come. And so I have reviewed these a couple of times, but it's always really nice to go back and hear myself having improved with it. So, let's see. Of course, if it likes me enough, I guess. Yes, so we'll reset the score and restart this activity. Because yes, continue with my current progress will bring me back to where I am in, like, I think the start of, or part of week 2. And I'll talk about, like, the different concepts that they use to do the teaching as well. Of course, because speech is such a big part of, obviously, language learning in general, it's going to have us make sure my mic is working. It does this every single time. It does not, like, I log in. It doesn't necessarily remember, which is fine. They also obviously have a phone app that works just as well. It's easier to record, obviously, on a computer. I think what I'm gonna do, too, is, at the end of the video, I'll show you guys the different languages, because if anybody's interested in Rosetta Stone, then I will also show off like lesson 1 of any languages that you guys are potentially interested in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go.
안녕하세요.
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 Okay, so that's a little quiet. So what I'm gonna do is, give me 1 second. I'm going to drop this, and I'm going to heighten this. I don't want the music to overtake the vocals, so y'all will have to let me know how it balances out for the next video. I'll mess around as I can for this one. So obviously what they've done is they've showed us and said one of the lines, and then they had us say it. 안녕하세요. Hello, how are you? I hope, like, are you well? Because obviously they're saying it as a question, so it kind of has a variety of meanings. Let's continue.
여자아이, 남자아이, 남자아이.
Okay, 남자아이 matches this picture of the boy, so I will click on the boy.
여자아이.
I'm still not really satisfied with the volume for myself, so sorry about the pings as I adjust. Okay. And then 여자아이. Let's listen to that again.
여자아이.
There we go. I think that volume's better. So, Korean has obviously different forms of female, so girl and woman. So we're doing children at this point. So girl is 여자아이, boy is 남자아이.
주스, 주스, 주스.
Alright, how do we feel about that volume? I'm still kind of finicky about it. There we go. Okay. So here, they're now going to have us matching. So you're kind of learning naturally along the way. So, 주스 is juice. So we gotta find the picture that is juice and put it in.
주스, 차, 차.
차. And although the it's not asking us to speak, of course it's always better to do that. Give me 1 second. Okay, so 차 is tea. So we'll do that one.
차, 물.
물. So, and then process of elimination. So they do with a 3 set, a 2 set, and then obviously the last one. So 물 is water.
물.
물.
주스.
주스.
주스. 차.
차.
차. 물.
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 So just evolving the situation. That's why even in the last slide, when they were asking us to speak, it's good to keep practicing it. And you saw that there's like a little green circle at the end here where it was judging how I was pronouncing it. So that will dim in color. So it goes green, orange, red. And depending on your percentage of that circle, it will have you continue to try for a little bit. And then I think you can see down here that this is how many lessons we have. And if you were to miss one, obviously not a big deal. You can always come back to it. this would get like a red X instead of like the green check marks.
여자아이가 밥을 먹어요. 여자아이가 주스를 마셔요. 남자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
The first time I saw this, it was super jarring because it feels like it jumps into full sentence really quickly. But it's actually pretty nice. Basic Korean sentences are very simple. So what we do is, obviously we know boy and girl. So we've got 여자 아이, and then there's some endings that we're not obviously going to be taught too much about right yet. I kind of understand it. It's still a little confusing, and especially if you get into more complicated sentences. But we're going to use context clues. So 여자 아이, we know is girl, so we see a girl right here. And then it says 밥을 먹어요. And so we see that this girl is eating. And so the sentence that we're being given is 남자아이가 밥을 먹어요. So obviously they're talking about a boy, and then the same part of the sentence when this girl is eating. So we're going to naturally assume that it is the boy that is eating that we're doing. There we go.
남자아이가 물을 마셔요.
Okay, so same concept. 여자아이가 주스를 마셔요. We know 여자아이 is girl, and we also know 주스. So we can see that she is drinking juice. So 여자아이가 주스를 마셔요. The s into the r is sometimes difficult for me to get into. So naturally we can assume that this is the girl is drinking. This sentence obviously uses 남자아이 instead of 여자아이, so it is the boy is drinking, and they changed juice for 물, which is water. So we're going to choose the picture of the boy drinking some water. Also, because I'm not doing any editing, I'm not like rehearsing my lines and stuff like that, my voice will crack. I'll have to clear my throat and stuff like that. I'm human, so man.
여자아이,
여자아이,
여자아이, 남자아이,
남자아이.
남자아이,
I try to not necessarily say it in the same cadence as they're giving, because then it feels a little bit robotic. So I try not to, but it's really hard sometimes, especially because to go up in inflection is more natural because it feels better.
여자아이가 주스를 마셔요.
여자아이가 주스를 마셔요.
여자아이가 주스를 마셔요. 남자아이가 물을 마셔요.
남자아이가 물을 마셔요.
남자아이가 물을 마셔요. 여자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
여자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
여자아이가 밥을 먹어요. 남자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
남자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
남자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
It is kind of lessons like this one in particular that kind of makes it, you know, that knowing Hangul beforehand kind of helps you more, because then you understand a little bit more of the LR sounds that this symbol makes, the Y attached to the, so this is shawl, and then also how things connect, like the mogoyo. And so knowing the Hangul before starting any of the Rosetta Stone lessons does give you a leg up in connecting the sentences together more, and it gives you, I think, more confidence in the speaking itself.
여자, 남자, 여자.
Alright, so we first had girl and boy, and now we are at man and woman, and as you can see, the beginnings of the words are what is in common. So the ending "ai" for boy and girl is what differentiates from for the age, So we're just doing woman, which is 여자. So click the woman.
남자,
남자. Clicking the man. Okay, let's see how.
여자,
여자.
여자, 남자,
남자.
남자,
On a completely unrelated Korean note, I really like how this man is staring at this camera. But, of course, now you see the same pattern, showing us the pictures and having us match, then saying the words, and... Ooh, this is a new one.
남자가 물을 마셔요.
So, now it's only giving us one sentence to do matching with, and then it's giving us the pictures. So, what they gave us was 남자가 물을 마셔요, because they want us to get used to the pattern that they've already presented. So, 남자, we know 남자, so we're going to ignore kind of the endings that they put on because, well, you'll get to that in later lessons. They do have grammar sections and stuff like that. So we know 남자 is man, 물 is water, and 마셔요 is drink. So the man, water, drink. The man is drinking water. You're going to click this one.
여자가 물을 마셔요.
여자가 물을 마셔요. So 여자, woman, 물, water, 마셔요. So the woman who is drinking water.
남자가 밥을 먹어요.
So I feel like Korean shares this with a lot of languages in that the verb that we're using comes at the end. So as you can see, we've got the subject, who is the guy, what he is affecting, the object, which is rice and or food. In this context, it's just meaning food, not rice. Don't ask me why. I don't know. And then 먹어요. So the verb to eating is at the end of the sentence. So man, food, eating. The man is eating food. Boop.
여자가 밥을 먹어요.
여자가 밥을 먹어요. So this is 여자, woman, 밥을, food, 먹어요, eating. The woman who's eating food. We're progressing well, I think.
남자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
Okay, for these sections, I will be repeating the audio because when I'm listening, I will only pick up on certain parts one at a time, basically, and so I have to keep listening to get used to the cadence and really pick up the nuance of the sentence. So what I'll do here for the video first, and then if I need it again more for me, they'll obviously say the audio. I will play it 2 more times before making my choice, and obviously then more times if I need it. So let's listen to it twice.
남자아이가 밥을 먹어요. 남자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is 남자아이가 밥을 먹어요. I am now, once I have said that, I'm kind of overthinking, I think, and thinking that maybe it's 남자가. So I am going to listen one more time, just to really lock in whether it's 남자 or 남자아이.
남자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
Okay, I was overthinking it. It is the 남자아이가. So we will click the picture of the boy who is eating.
남자가 밥을 먹어요.
Let's put it twice.
남자가 밥을 먹어요. 남자가 밥을 먹어요.
All right, and thankfully this one is much easier. It sometimes is so funny, the shortening from the IE versions of the words to the adult versions. So the difference between 남자아이 and 남자. So this is 남자가 밥을 먹어요, and the man who is eating.
여자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
And twice.
여자아이가 밥을 먹어요. 여자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
And I am hearing 여자아이가 밥을 먹어요. I like how they're sticking with the same verb for now. It's just differentiating between girl, boy, man, woman.
여자가 밥을 먹어요.
And of course, process of elimination, but we're still going to listen and we're still going to verbalize because it's better for our brains. It sticks better.
여자가 밥을 먹어요. 여자가 밥을 먹어요.
여자가 밥을 먹어요. Oh, I'm jealous because this looks like samgyeopsal, and it is so good. It's part of like Korean grilling. It's meat, and it's delicious. All right, let's move on.
여자아이가 물을 마셔요.
Now, before we do our 2 listens, obviously now they're upping the stakes. Now we have the 2 different verbs that we've learned, the eating and the drinking, instead of the last slide, which was they're all doing the same thing. So let's do our 2 listens.
여자아이가 물을 마셔요. 여자아이가 물을 마셔요.
Okay. 여자아이가 물을 마셔요. So the girl is drinking water. She's so cute. Look at this picture.
여자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
And our 2 times.
여자아이가 밥을 먹어요. 여자아이가 밥을 먹어요.
여자아이가 밥을 먹어요. The girl is eating. This all looks delicious and I'm jealous, even if I've already had breakfast.
남자가 주스를 마셔요.
That's another reason I'm going to do the 2 listens, because sometimes I don't talk fast enough before the audio plays, but I don't want to just sit and have you guys sit in silence or just with this music in the background. So, it is what it is. Give me 1 second. I am going to click off because this particular song is a little quiet. I want you guys to be able to actually, like, hear the music in the background. And of course it's gonna probably get freaking loud. Yep, I knew it. Okay. I don't know why the screen dulls every time, it's so funny. Alright, let's do our 2 listens to make sure that we are locked in on the hearing part of it.
남자가 주스를 마셔요. 남자가 주스를 마셔요.
남자가 주스를 마셔요. The guy, the man, is eating juice. I believe there is a word for each gender of like, girl, like, how do I, like, guy and, like, or like her and him, not necessarily saying man, girl, woman, boy, and stuff like that, but I don't come across it very often.
남자가 밥을 먹어요. 남자가 밥을 먹어요. 남자가 밥을 먹어요.
남자가 밥을 먹어요. The man is eating. That sub is as big as his head. Alright, we are almost done with the lesson for today.
남자아이가 달려요.
And so, continuing on with patterns, we are being introduced to a new verb. At the ending of our sentence is 달려요, which, if you can guess from the visuals, means running. Obviously, Korean, unfortunately for me, also has conjugation. So, 달려요 is you want to start out, I feel, with being formal enough so that you're not offending anybody, because Korean is a language based on respect for those older than you, those in higher positions, those with more experience. And so, in my experience, a lot of language learning apps and the books will start you out at the basic formal level, so that no matter who you're talking to, you're at least not going to be offensive in that way. But I've also heard many stories of the fact that native Koreans are really just happy sometimes to have someone so interested in learning their language. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But for this, obviously, the 달려요, this is not what the verb itself looks like. This is the conjugation for this basic formal speech. So, using what we've learned already, 남자아이가 달려요. 남자아이가 meaning boy, and the boy is running. So, escalating
여자가 달려요.
what we have learned, adding new parts as we go. 여자가 달려요. 여자 being woman, our new verb 달려요, running. So,
여자아이가 달려요.
여자아이가 달려요. Following the same principle, we already know that 여자아이 is a girl. So I will pick the girl that is running.
남자가 달려요.
남자가 달려요. Also, props to adults who run for fun, because couldn't be me. 남자, obviously, is man, so we will click this one. And we will move on.
편지, 편지, 편지.
Okay, so we are coming obviously to the end of this lesson, and so like they did in the very beginning, they are introducing some new words that will likely pop up in the next one. So, 편지 is letter, so I will find the picture of a letter.
편지, 책, 책.
책 was one of the words that comes up most often when you are learning Korean via like books and stuff like that, because that's what it is. It is book. And so 책 was one of my first words that I ever really like memorized and has stuck with me since 2015.
책, 신문.
신문. So process of elimination. We've already done letter and we've already done book. So 신문 is newspaper.
신문.
All right, let's go. I don't know. I think there is technically one more and before it's like, hey, you did it. But don't quote me on that because Lord knows I don't remember. Okay.
편지,
편지.
편지. 책,
책.
책. 신문,
신문.
신문.
It's always really fun to go back to words that I don't necessarily use 편지 or 신문 or really need them. So to go back to those and then see them next to a word that I see so often and use so often, which is 책, is always very funny to me. So we did 43 out of 43 points. And so that is the end of lesson 1 for Rosetta Stone's Korean. Now, like I said, I will show you guys, whoops, not that one. I will show you guys the, if I can find, oops, that's not the button. Oh, okay, actually, this is actually pretty cool to show you. So, obviously, we are in course, so you have all of the courses. I don't know how many. Let's see. How many lessons are there? I had gone into Unit 2. I hadn't necessarily gone into Unit 3. So there's 12 units. And there's 3+ core things. So, core lessons. So, actually, this is awesome. So, Unit 1 has 4 lessons. But you have core, pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. So, there's even more to this than what I've just shown you. Let me see. Switch languages. There's the button I wanted. My little jellyfish babies up here are protecting me. And obviously, these 2 little jellyfish above my head, they represent my cats. The small one is named Liliana, and the big one is named Katie Bear. And then, I've always really liked sharks, and I've also really liked the stupid name Damamin. So, Damamin is my little shark friend up there. So, let's see how, like, there's a lot, actually. I don't know if I can fit them all on the page. Oh, yes, I can. Maybe? Yes. Okay. So, we've got Arabic, which, unfortunately, I know that I would never be able to handle, because, y'all, I've already tried German for some of my friends, and it's rough on the throat for me. Chinese, specifically Mandarin. I'm actually interested in testing this out because the language itself is so interesting in that so much of it is so close. Like, it's a very specific language. More specific, I feel, than a lot. Dutch, English, American, das me, English, British, which I find very interesting. So I actually think it'd be cool to check out the British English and see what they think. Filipino, which the actual language is, I think it's pronounced Tagalog. I have some friends who speak this language, and being somebody who listens to Korean dramas and also K-pop, there's actually a lot of people in the sphere who are Filipino and speak this language. French, I did 5 years of this, 4 in high school, 1 in middle school, and I have retained absolutely nothing, so it'd be kind of funny to go back to it. German, Greek, I can't imagine. Hebrew, another one of those throaty ones that I'm not sure I could ever do. Hindi, I don't know very much about this language, so I think it'd be interesting to check out. Irish, not as easy as it sounds, I promise you, because I have been here before trying to do this because my family is of Celtic origin, so to be able to experience a language in that sphere is very fun and interesting, but it's definitely strange. I was not prepared. Italian, I'm not very interested in this, but I feel like because I've had French background, I wouldn't necessarily struggle as much with at least the speaking aspect, like connecting the dots. That doesn't mean I will remember and be able to speak to people, but in like lesson stuff, yes. Japanese, I did try the first lesson of this when I was thinking about doing this either on stream or here for YouTube, and it's really nice. It has at least I want to say it's katakana, the simpler of the alphabets that Japanese has, is very straightforward, of like the small consonant vowel groups. Obviously Korean. Latin, which I can't even fathom trying. I know that it's obviously a lot of languages are based on it. It has a lot of history behind it, but I just can't fathom learning Latin. Persian, which the actual language is called Farsi, and I don't know if I've ever really come across this language, so that could be interesting. Polish, Portuguese, specifically from Brazil, which is interesting given that it's not Portugal, but I digress. Russian, which I feel in the same vein as German will have some guttural sense to it that I will have a little bit of a hard time with. Spanish, specifically Latin American Spanish, and Spanish Spain Spanish. I'm actually kind of interested in the fact that when they have French, they also don't have French Canadian, the Quebecois version, because when I was in school doing it, we did go to Quebec, and we were given like a sheet of, here, so you've been learning French. That's not exactly how it works here. So the fact that they differentiate the Spanishes, but not the Frenches, is interesting. Swedish, another one that I find interesting, and at least in this parts that I've heard before, you kind of can see where English has taken from it along the way, because certain words will sound extremely similar. Turkish, I know nothing about Turkish, and Vietnamese. I am exposed to this a little bit because we do have there's a nail shop in my town that is run by a Vietnamese brother and sister, and so they will speak to each other in Vietnamese, and it's a very interesting thing to hear because I think, like Chinese, there must be intricacies within it that I'm just not picking up when I'm listening as an outsider, because it all just sounds so cohesive and similar as they're speaking. But obviously they're having a conversation, so there must be a delineation somewhere. So those are the options if anyone would like me to go over the first, like, core lesson 101. because I'm not going to be diving into any other languages because, one, again, I am not a language learner. I do not have the skill for it, I don't have the attention span for it, I don't have the memory for it. I just really like Korean, and I like to immerse myself, and I feel like over the years I have picked up things, and so I want to continue that, and YouTube is going to be a way for me to do that, but it's not going to be all that I do. This just happens to be something that I'm very passionate about. But I will, if anyone wants, show off lesson core 1.1 for anyone who is interested in any of the other languages. For now, that will be all for me. If you'd like, CloverMacKi is my tag on Twitch, and I stream Tuesdays 7 to 9:30 United States Eastern Standard Time, and also Saturdays 10 a.m. to approximately 3 p.m. depending. Sometimes I'll shorten it depending on what we're playing, how I'm feeling. So if you guys want to check out any of my content there, play lots of games, I'm having a great time. And I will also be playing games and doing other stuff on YouTube. This was just my intro video to put out. So thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!